Oh, yeah, real much. Reason I asked you that stuff that's down there, so, I think it says 3 hours. Oh, it's gone. No. When I got, I looked at I left there, turned left, went up, come back. When I got home, it was ended up. He didn't let home all day, good. I was thinking the same guy, I said, oh, it didn't rain no Good evening. You got it right that time. Welcome. Have any announcements we need to make before we begin? I know we got one big one. So you can fill in the gaps where I'm, but it appears that John is it MRI? Showing no new tumor growth today. Where the old tumor was, there's some inflammation maybe, or something, or it could have been likely from the radiation treatment. And so we'll know more about that one in a couple of months. That should clear up a little bit. Is there anything else? So awesome news there. And that's great to hear that. Yes, ma'am.
My sister Hazel has completed all chemotherapy and radiation up to this point and facing surgery. And apparently this is going to be a very, very serious surgery, major surgery. It's going to have to be a team of doctors to do it. So please continue to keep her in your prayers.
Will do. And when it's going to be, Mr.?
No, they've got to get a team of doctors together and then determine whether she's going to be in Birmingham or Vanderbilt. So there's no just here.
All right. Anybody else?
Mike, I don't know how many people know Ricky Dowd. His wife worked at the lunchroom in Bethlehem. He passed away Monday.
Beverly and Ange Dale.
His dad.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beverly was mentioning that to me. She said, "Do you remember so and so?" And I said, "No." And then she started naming all children. I said, "Yeah." Yep, in his 80s, I think. Is that right? In his 80s? 78, okay.
I think we have one of the moms trying to have babies right now. One break out. Both of them break out. Well, maybe both one break out, but one is trying to settle. So yeah.
So Justin's mother's doing okay. And
Okay,
your mother's ready to go home
yes,
right now.
yes. You're really not ready to go at all. So, Justin did get hurt and medication being approved for her. That's the last piece of the puzzle with her. We should have that final answer at the end of the week.
Yeah, Justin said last night that looked promising. So yeah.
Yes, fingers crossed that will take a lot of stress off.
How long do you say your mother have to stay?
Well,
Till you get ready to go home?
until she is not involved in back there herself, she is not there yet by any means. But she's working on it.
That's good. Motivation.
Even though she doesn't want to be there, she's working hard. So, how long
Good.
About a week and a half.
So my mother went for her test today, and they said, I said the bottom portion of her heart had built up. So they're going to call her tomorrow and schedule a exploratory. They think they got a couple of arteries that may be clogged. So what we hope is stents, but said the worst case scenario will be a bypass. It looks like now to be some. They just put some stents in, and I know a lot of people have that done. So I'm thankful hopeful that's all that is. It's and I know because so my brothers or I accompanied my parents to the doctor when they go now because sometimes the story. It's a little foggy when you get in there. And the symptoms that they say they have are not necessarily diagnosis. So when he was asking her today some of the issues she's having, no, Daniel, hold on. What about this? Well, yeah. And what about that? You have this? No. Hold on. What about that? Yeah. He goes, you didn't tell me that before. I need to know all these. You know, that the heart doctor is very dry and direct, no nonsense. And so thankfully, Daniel was there today and got that taken care of. So maybe I'm thinking maybe Monday. I don't know. Maybe they may say Friday. So I don't know. Either way, taken care of. Anybody else? quickly, I'll run over I'm going to go through this really fast. You can ask one of the guys after services if you want to. During the men's meeting last night, Friends and Family Day will be September 24th. That's the last Sunday of this month. Please try to invite someone to that. And be sure I'm hoping we'll have several visitors here. Be sure that we have enough food for that if we're going to have these visitors. Trunk or treat, October 25th. That'll be, instead of 6 to 7, be 5:30 to 7. Be sure that we bring enough candy. I know since you're going to be setting up out there, you'll be bringing your own, but since fall for it, town hall is having theirs within 30 minutes of the same time. It could be a lot of people come down here, so it may take lots of candy, so be sure and be prepared for that. And then afterwards, we'll eat in here and have a devotion at 7 o'clock. We decided last night to make it easy and to be able to feed a lot of people at the same time is maybe 6, 7 crock pots full of chili, and then you bring hot dogs, whatever you want to go with that. So that'd feed a lot of people pretty easy. And then that following Sunday, which is like 3 or 4 days later, we won't have that meal. That'd be 2 meals so close together. We're not having the last Sunday in October's meal. We'll use that 25th as that. And we'll talk about that again next month. May set up some sort of free water, something like that. Really, that's about everything that we talked about. So if you have any questions about that, ask any men. They should be able to feed you on everything. All right. Any questions? Any more now?
Are we eating next Wednesday night, or is it?
What day is it? We usually do that on the second Wednesday. Is that right? If that's the case, yes, 13th. Yeah. 13th. All right, any more announcements or anything? That would have a word of prayer. Our God and Father in heaven, we're so thankful, Father, for this time we can assemble together to study the Holy Inspired Word. We're so thankful, Father, for the Word that you've left behind for us to study. Pray, Father, as we study that Word tonight, that you would bless us with it. We're so thankful, Father, for answered prayers. We're so thankful, Father, for Jonna's good MRI reports. We know, Father, that you hear and answer our prayers. Pray, Father, you continue to be with her. We love her so much, Father. We're selfish and we need her here. We pray, Father, that you would continue to be with those that the doctors that minister to her. Pray, Father, you give them everything that they possibly need, whether it be knowledge or instruments, to heal her, Father. We're thankful, Father, that Mandy and John had a safe trip and back with us tonight. Pray, Father, you'd be with Sister Douglas' sister. We know, Father, that she has a surgery coming up. Pray, Father, you'd be with those doctors. We know, Father, that these surgeries can be rough. But we know, Father, that all things are possible through you. We know, Father, that you take care of us. And we ask for that care for Sister Douglas' sister, Father. Pray, Father, you'd be with Ricky Dobbs' family and their loss. We know, Father, that it's so hard to let loved ones go. So hard for us to understand, Father. But one know, Father, that we can look to you for comfort. We can look to you for strength and encouragement. Pray, Father, you'd be with that family. Pray, Father, you'd be with Justin Barley's mother. Pray, Father, you'd be with the inner workings of that situation. Pray, Father, that everything will work out and she can live there. Help her to have patience, Father. Pray, Father, you'd be with my mother, my father, and their health issues. Pray, Father, you'd be with my mother's up and coming surgery. Pray, Father, it'd be a minor surgery. It'd be stents are the best thing for her. Pray, Father, that she get that done. It would help her heart. She can have her normal strength too, Father. Once again, Father, we're thankful for this time we can come together as Christians, study thy word. We're thankful for Christ. In his name we pray. Amen. All right. Quickly. All right. So I feel like I haven't been giving you guys enough time on the icebreaker. Y'all might know some of these, so I'll do it fast. Why did the strawberry cry? Found himself in jam. What did the fork? What did Kate say to the fork? You want a piece of me? Last one. What did football coach say to the broken vending machine? That's easy. Give me my quarterback. There you go, Danny. I knew it. I knew somebody. All right, icebreaker's done. Y'all are fresh now, ready to go. All right, so we talked about, this is the last bullet point we have on the lesson that we've been studying, where Jesus is going into Jerusalem. And he is telling the apostles about his death is going to be coming up soon. And, of course, Peter has rebuked Christ, telling him that you're never going to die. I'll die with you. You're not going there to die. You're pretty much, he's thinking you're going to be a king here. Of course, Christ rebukes him. And as we move along there, down about verse 26, Matthew 16, it talks about, let's just read that, and then we'll talk about it just for a second. 16:26. For what is it a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for soul? So I asked you the question, how can we avoid falling into that trap? What do you guys think about that? This is going to kind of leap into our next lesson that I have prepared. But think about, when you think about that scripture, do you think about material blessings that we have and making them kind of more important than your soul? I think a good example is kind of what Bill talked about, how he used to like to ride his motorcycle on Sunday morning. That was kind of his day, that he and his friends would go out and ride motorcycles. But that wasn't that important. It was the time. It seemed like that, but it wasn't that important. What about, and you think about this, what about somebody, and I'm not knocking on anybody that works overtime because I've done my share of it, trust me. But there's a difference in looking at your soul.
I think that very well could be looking at it that way. And I also think it could be sometimes people put themselves in a situation that they have to work and they have to pay for the overtime. Now, that still doesn't make it right. I don't think, if you're not required to work on Sunday, that you're working on Sunday, but I do understand the fact that some people have to do it because that's kind of the thing. So, you know, we need to be careful about how we set ourselves up in life so we don't have to do that.
That's a good point, Danny, because we've all known somebody, I would assume, that was in that shape, that, well, they were in the shape where if they didn't have that extra time, they might not make it. So if you would be in that shape, I would suggest you try to work your way out of it, and that may be working sometimes. It may be selling something, but you can get yourself in that shape, and then you're in a bad shape when you're there too.
I was guilty of jumping on some of that double down Sunday money back, you know, like years ago when I felt like I had to have it.
Sure.
Maybe I could have survived without it. When they're paying you twice, when they're paying you on Monday.
That's a strong appeal, isn't it?
Yes.
Money, easy. Well, I ain't gonna say easy money, but money has a very strong appeal sometimes. I mean, it takes money to survive in this world. That's what we use. And so, but you can get to a point where it becomes more important to you than your own soul. And if you're not careful, you can find yourself drifting away, and it happens most of the time it happens slowly and gradually, but next thing you know, especially when you get older, you blink your eye and it's been another year. I know some of you know what I'm talking about.
But you know, there's way of getting services, you know, all through the day now, through YouTube or whatever. You know, what I'm saying is, you might be finding time for that after.
Yeah, I think that live streaming has its place.
But years ago, we didn't have that option.
But I don't think it takes the place of worship. Because I think it's hurt. I think it hurts some churches because they got used to sitting at home and worshiping their kind of worship. Because, you know, I heard Michael talking about this one time. We were listening to Bowling Springs and we were actually shut down. And he said, if you're going to worship from home during this time, then worship. That don't mean run the vacuum cleaner.
That's what I mean.
While you're, you know, and you're not really can't even hear it. So yeah, it's got its place, I think.
Yeah, you know, they really want you to do the right way.
I think what Billy, the point, he may not be trying to make the point, but when he said it, I see that. I think that would show your mindset.
Right.
If you did get in that situation,
You have
now you've got so many avenues where you can say, all right, well, I've got myself in this situation and I've got to do this. Well, as soon as I get home, I'm finding one of these ways where I can worship my God.
That's right.
Try to get your priorities right. I know situations are unique and they're different, but just trying to get your priorities right and knowing that. Because the next thing we're going to go to has got something to do with these material things and how they're temporary.
We're under a severe thunderstorm warning, which not that big a deal. If the fall horns go off, that means the tornadoes comes by.
If it starts hailing, I'm going to throw you my keys, Danny, pull my truck on there.
Bless them.
I'll
You
pay.
know, we just talked about this last night.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Any more questions or comments or on this?
Mike, sometimes who you marry can affect how we're talking about it. I mean, I feel like I got lucky because she understands running.
That makes two of us. No, I mean, I'm thinking about the same about myself. That makes it, yeah, it could either draw you away or draw you near, right? It could. Because without without marrying Beverly, I don't know if I've ever found my way. I mean, possible, but it ain't likely.
Now, rode that same horse.
So if any young ladies here are single, you know how important that is. Trust me, it is. And guys, it doesn't matter. It's very important. All right. James 1, verses 13 through 15 will be our text. We'll go ahead and read that now, and then we'll move into that. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth any man. But every man is tempted, he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. So, we've heard this probably a million times, these scriptures, right? I want to dive into it just a little bit more deeper than we normally do. We just kind of read that and say, hey, it's our fault. God, we're drawn away by our own lust. I want to get a little bit further into that. And this is just a statement here that we really don't deserve God's love. We're not entitled, and we don't deserve that, but He loves us, willing to give His Son for us. And of course, this is the kind of thing we were talking about a while ago. Sometimes our temptation draws us away. Things like that may be shiny for a moment and getting our attention, but the rewards don't last. What are some things you think could do that? I'm thinking of myself. I'm thinking, a boat. And I don't play golf, but I know some of these guys do. But if that became your shiny new toy that you couldn't let go of, and every Sunday that was your thing, motorcycle. But those things are temporary. How many bikes have you had in your time, Billy? They wear out, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they don't last ever, do they?
No.
Boats are the same way. I think they made them better. It's not that special to you.
I've always counted it as a blessing. So,
Sure. But those things are meant to fade away and perish. You're not made to be lasting.
Yeah.
And it don't stay with you. And there's not a whole lot it can do for you instead of, it's like it's enjoyment, but it's not going to do much for your soul, is it?
Yeah, it don't ruin my life, for sure.
And so this is a question that I was thinking about, and you guys think about. I thought about this for Friends and Family Day too. Some of the people maybe used to go here. In choosing sin, we exchange God for a number of utterly empty things. Imagine if you're among the number, put yourself in that position, who have traded God for something else. How can the church minister to you in hopes of drawing you back to Christ? That's got so many, many different answers, doesn't it? I think it depends on the situation. I think it depends upon the person. Think about that this week, or this month, and think about how that if you were pulled away, how you'd want someone from the church to approach you and talk to you about that. And obviously, like I said, each situation is probably, I'm sure it's unique. I know I've had, Glenn and I visited a few people here years back. Some were receptive, and some said, we don't have time tonight. I said, does that mean they don't? He said, that's what that means. I was a little green, but we can try. But if you're in that situation, think about that and how you'd want someone to approach you, or if they did, how you think that'd go and how you.
Well, with my mother and dad, I stayed with them, moved in with them actually in their last years, just to be there to help them. So mother was, Well, it was every day for me, before I came back to church. So, I always been my driving force.
Yeah, you could take things from your mother that you might not want me doing to you, though, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where I'm, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So you need, so I think it would me, I think, somebody would come by and first of all, we would just be talking about something other than church, maybe, and then we're talking and then, hey, why don't you, you and your, yeah, I mean, it's just me. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but hey, why don't you and I want to go eat lunch or something, and then work into it like that maybe. Because if you come to somebody 99 out of 100 times and you tell them, hey, you need to get back in church, that's probably not going to work. So let them know, once again, you hear me use my as an example a lot. He used to tell us, I said, how do you know after he'd been here a few months, I like you preaching? He said, I ain't preached yet. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I'm going to show you I love you before I start preaching to you. I said, and it made sense. What he said made sense. You show people that you care about them before you don't want to come in and tell them what they're doing wrong. Just show me love, care about them. That's why. That's just me. Every situation's unique. All right. Good question. We're drawn away by our own lust. We know that, enticed by our own temptations. How does a Christian balance the fact that our sin is our own fault with the knowledge that God knows we stumble in sin? It makes sense. I don't know if that always carries the way. Because what we're talking about here is being, at least I know, is drawn away from something, enticed by something, and we blame it on God. And that goes back as old as the Bible is, doesn't it? As old as time. If you think about it, in the garden, somebody's always ready to blame somebody else, right?
Job's friends came in and said, what have you done?
Yeah. Must be because this, and this. And so how do you about that? I would say take responsibility for yourself. Sure, you're going to sin, and there's no doubt about that. If you say then you're alive, so we know we're going to sin. But I think that you've heard the old saying, if you fall off the horse, you get back up. I think it's for a bicycle with horses, that ain't good. Not a very good example. I've tried that. Get you covered back off. But a bicycle, you can do that. Off a bicycle, you get back on ride it again. And so I think that's what that I would say how you balance that is how you react when you do something. Because we already know we're going to sin. But we don't need to blame that on God. Say, well, hey, God knows we're going to sin. So that's why I'm saying it. Not necessarily true. Any comments on that?
But you can't use the fact that God knows we're going to not be perfect as an excuse to do it. You're going to have to be striving for your perfection goal, whether you're not going to reach that, but you got to strive for it. And it's not an excuse.
Absolutely. All right, thought question here. Resisting temptation, desire, is about more than just knowing the difference between right and wrong. You agree with that statement? What more? You guys agree with that? There's, let me just, for instance, the desire of intimacy is good. God created his first mission to humanity was to be fruitful and multiply. We know that in Genesis 1:28. But when we corrupt it, it becomes lust, sex trafficking, adultery, prostitution, and more. Self-control is the fruit of the Spirit. We know that from Galatians. So you ask yourself a few questions. So to have intimacy with your wife or desire your wife is a good thing, right? Nothing bad with that. It's pure, it's a good thing. It's what the byproducts of that, what we make it, is when it starts to turn bad for us. So a few questions you can ask yourself. Will this desire lead to sin as defined in the Bible? It's a good question to ask. What is the motive of the desire? Is it for my good and the good of others? And the last thing I had to put here was the desire controlling me. Have I proven the ability to say no to this? What do you think about that? We think about some things that I desire to be the best. Just throwing this out there to help me the song leader. It's probably not a bad thing, right? Because you want to improve me better. But what if that desire leads me into wanting to replace every man in this congregation and want to be the top person? And I don't want nobody else leading things with me. Then that desire comes a little different. That's just an example. I could have said preacher, but I know we might talk about that.
Then it becomes obsession.
Yes. Any questions, comments about this?
Well, and intimacy is, I mean, it's different. It can be different than just what you have.
Oh, absolutely.
As well. So, there's different levels of intimacy. So, that's what. So, and they grow.
Yeah. And so you can, some things do entice us and pull us away, but they don't always have to lead to something sinful, I guess. Which is my next point. How does Satan use desires that are already in us to tempt us? And what are some of these desires that may not be inherently sinful in themselves? So the first question is, how does Satan use desires that are already in us to tempt us? Yeah, for me, that's very easy. Because he knows what tempts me. And he knows what doesn't tempt me.
He knows everyone's weakness.
Exactly. And he's not going to use something that's going to tempt me that I don't care nothing about. He's just going to do it. Always going to use something that you already enjoy, like. And it may be something nobody knows anything about. It could be something that you hide that people don't know about. But he uses that in a way to tempt you. When I think about that, I think about, there's lots of things, and I love the internet. It's open. I never forget when I first time I heard about it. I think it was in, I don't even know how you know, off the top of your head.
It's kind of boring.
Would you say
I would
late
say-
90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, I would say mid-90s because AOL.com was.
The time that I'm thinking, I was talking to a person at work, and I think it was the year 2000. So, we didn't, at that time, they didn't allow internet on the work computers, and of course, we didn't have one at home. And so he started telling me things about it. He said, man, I said, well, what is internet? I heard a lot about that. He said, man, he was a farmer. He lived out at Priceville. If you're out Upper River Road, you'll see a sign that says White Farms. That's their farm. But anyway, man, you can just type your mic and it'll bring up. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, it'll bring up just page and page. I said, about tractors? He said, yeah. So I don't mean to get off on a tangent here, but the internet is one thing, but there's a lot of things on there that are not.
The same plants that look seed you know, you might kind of like, look, no. But then the more you think about it, it becomes a little bit more appealing. And then as it goes on and progresses, you're making excuses. So
Like you start thinking about those things, and don't ever mistake this, that music is a very, very powerful thing. If you're not careful, you catch yourself humming some tunes you probably don't need to be humming. There's power in music, I'm telling you. Because how many times, you know, I think they go to church, they do it, and then before you know it,
I'm gonna use my bike ride to win things out because, you know, like, for years, I rode with the same people on Sundays or whatever. And that don't tempt me no more, you know. I don't miss not being there Sunday morning back because, and we're still, you know, same friendship and everything. So there's a little effort that you can do.
yeah, you got to want to.
But if your friends can help you over anything.
Or hurt you both ways.
But mine,
Forms, things like food, to more complicated things like goals of success and fame. These desires drive us, motivate us, and can even control us. And that's kind of the thing, isn't it? People like to be appreciated, but when it's carried to the point where you're thinking about fame, being known for something, and people almost worshiping you, then that's when this channels, and you'll see these guys in their dress that they wear, as far as the hats and the robes and things like that, and it's almost like it's not about God anymore. It's about this person standing on the stage.
Like one of those places of power, positions like that, if you look over history, you'll see that they're lonely places to be.
Politics, I'm not going to 1 minute after. But I was thinking about the guy standing behind the podium and couldn't even speak. And somebody was talking to him, and he's standing there just like a zombie. I'm thinking, and I know that age discrimination has its place, but it don't have its place in Congress. If you're that old, you need to, all I'm saying is, I think the power gets to those folks, and they crave that power, and it's hard for them to let go. It didn't take me long to let go at 3 ends. I didn't.
Well, it goes back to also who you surround yourself with, because the people around you crave that power too.
Sure.
Because the example you're talking about, there ain't no way he cares about standing up there no more. Those people that he's surrounded himself with will hold him up there because they're the ones that are desiring all that comes from his position.
And a little bit of pride comes in with that too.
Yeah, I think so. Well, we're past time, so we'll see. Next week our meal? Okay, so we'll just pick up here in 2 weeks.
January 1st, 83 is actually working.
Oh,
January 1st, 83 is actually working.
83. Must have been on.
That's what it was.
That's
That's when it was 80 feet tall. 20 feet wide.
no,
That's
you're
that.
wrong there. In 1970, it took up a whole group.
It took me the year 2000.
Well, I think
When the
How many y'all have, eh? All of them?
No, actually six. Jackson's dream. Oh, thank you.
it was $1 what we had.
you want to open up your song books to number 500.
I can already hear it.
Verses. The Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him. Without him, nothing was made that was made. That's a comforting verse. Of course, let's talk about here. Jesus has always been here with them. Jesus is here today, tomorrow, and forever. And we have confidence in that because we have faith in his word. And he is the word. Of course, the word has been here since the beginning. So if you're here tonight and you maybe feeling like God isn't here, he's listening. He's ready for you. So let us know while we stand and sing number 517.
Our blessed Lord refuses none. Who to him their souls deny. Oh, why not deny? Oh, why not deny?
Again, we're thankful everybody's here tonight. Everybody, make sure you can tell from the roof it's raining, so be careful, especially that red light that's been trying to hit us ever since we've been going to church here. Somebody's been driving past trying to get us, so y'all be careful tonight. And any other announcements that need to be made tonight?
I have a coworker, a friend, Jody Little, has an MRI tomorrow, and she's hoping for good results.
And Jody Lilly. Okay. And Billy's got a closing prayer, so he'll add her to that, and we'll be dismissed.
Father in heaven, thankful again for this day of giving. Thank you for this time to sit and ask you to bless each one here. We thank you for the good Lord, for Johnny. Continue to give her courage, strength, bless her. We ask you to be with Justin and Mandy and family, be with their mothers. Give them all peace and comfort and strength. Ask you to be with Sylvia with her upcoming surgery. Continue to bless her, be with Ray. Ask you to be with Miss Douglas' sister, her upcoming surgery. Bless them all with peace and comfort and strength. Ask you to be with Kim's friend, with her MRI. Continue to bless that family. We ask you to continue to bless her sick and her nursing homes. Remember, our unable to attend now. Thankful each day for your promises, for your forgiveness. We ask for forgiveness for our sins, for we know we're not perfect. We're thankful again for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. In His name we pray. Amen.